Hey, it's Alan Berg. Before we get into this episode, I'm starting something called Ask Me Anything. That's right. You submit your questions and they could become an entire episode or something that I answer at the end of an episode. To submit your questions, look for the red button at podcast.alanberg.com. That's right, podcast.alanberg.com. Click on the red button, submit your question, and maybe you'll hear it here on the podcast. Thanks. Don't make it so obvious that you're using AI. Listen to this episode. Find out why I'm on my soapbox. Welcome to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Berg. I'm a speaker, sales trainer, consultant, author, and I help businesses like yours sell more, profit more, and have a little more fun doing it. Enjoy this episode. Hey, it's Alan Berg. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I've seen a lot of things lately on social media and some other places, websites and all, where it is just screaming to me that somebody used AI to make this. And one of the most obvious things is if you leave the little icons that ChatGPT and some of the other ones put in as bullet points and things, the green check mark in the square, please change that. You're just saying to me, I used AI to make this. And now, don't get me wrong. I use AI all the time. I teach people how to use it. I'm using it with my clients. I used it today with a client to help reword their website, to take their wording and make it better and fresher and more results-based and things. I've used it to help rewrite my speaking topics and things like that. And if it comes up with the green check marks, I take them off and I make real bullet points. And some of the other symbols, I did that with my client today, something that came up with taking his words, but it came up and it did some bullet points with these check marks and other things. Take them off immediately. It's just screaming to us that you're using it. I'm assuming then you didn't even read it or edit it. Now, maybe you read it, but that you didn't edit it because you just left all that there. I'm not saying you did, but that's what it says to me, is that you didn't take the time to make it seem like your own when you did that. Now, there are a lot of times when we can read stuff and go, okay, that sounds just like AI. And when I use AI, one of the things that I always tell people is read it. It has to fit your voice, change it, tell it to make it differently. I do it all the time. I tell it, change the voice, make that more conversational. That's too formal. You're using the word vibe too much. If I tell it to make it Gen Y, Gen Z, right, that likes to use the word vibe, I might tell it to take that off. Or I asked my client, I said, does this sound like you? Can you own this if you put this on your website? Or how should we tweak this? So we're using it as a tool, but don't make it so obvious that you're doing it, because if you're starting from zero and you ask it to do certain things, it could come up with something that's very similar to what it tells somebody else. And this is why I start with your own content. When I'm consulting with you, like my client today, we're starting with his content, whether it's his reviews, the wording on his website, wording in a brochure, things like that. And this way it started with your voice, but now we can tweak it, make it more conversational, add the you voice. So we're talking to you and about your event and your guests and things like that. But let's not make it so obvious that you're using AI. Now, when I publish my books, it asks me if I've used AI for any part of it, creating the cover, creating the content, editing, and so forth. And when I do, I tell it, because mostly what I use it for is helping me edit. It'll find things I can't, whether it's Grammarly that I'm using, which will find the grammar errors, or whether I'm trying to take one of my books for the wedding and event industry and make it for anybody, like I just did with Stop Selling and Help Them Buy Weddings and Events. I made it stop selling and help them buy just about anything. So I used AI to do what we would do manually, which is find all the references to other types of businesses and let's change them over to be other types of businesses that I told it what it was. But I read every word of that book and made my changes before I published it. But I did say that I used AI for editing. I didn't for the cover. We did the cover, so I didn't do it for that. But I did say that there was no translation, so I didn't do it. I have had books where we've used AI for translation, but then we have a native speaker read through it because it's not going to be perfect. And just like Grammarly is going to find my errors, a native speaker is going to find the errors in a translation. I actually worked with somebody recently. We used AI for tweaking the words on their site, but then we also used ChatGPT to translate it to Spanish. But they, being a native speaker, they read it through and said, no, that word is not right over there, and we're changing it. It was really good, but it wasn't right. So we have to make it right with the editing. So please stop making it obvious that you're using AI. Make it your own. Teach it better. If you really want to learn how to use AI, you can train it on your voice so it'll give more of you. You can give it better instructions. It's called prompt engineering. And if I haven't said this before, I heard at a conference that people over 45 get better results from AI because we give it better instructions. And when I said this to my assistant who just graduated college, right, she said, yeah, I give it 8 words, you give it 2 paragraphs. Exactly. I give it 2 paragraphs of instructions, so I'm going to get better results. No different than giving it to a person. If I give a person 2 paragraphs of instructions, I'll get better results than 8 words. So take off the green check marks. You want to use different check marks? That's fine. You want to use different bullets? That's fine. But don't use the ones that it's giving you and it's giving everybody else, because it just screams, I didn't make this. And we kind of discount that in terms of the quality of that or the professionalism if we feel that it wasn't your own. So use the tool. Absolutely use the tool. Just don't make it so obvious. Thanks for listening. I will step off my soapbox now. Hi, it's Alan Berg. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wedding Business Solutions podcast. If you have a suggestion for a future topic or a guest, please go to podcast.alanberg.com and you can make your suggestion there. You can also do it at Ask Me Anything, which is a button on that page, or just email me at alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com. And if you'd like to find out how I can help you with sales training, a website review, consulting, or speaking for your group or organization, possibly at no cost to the organization, contact me directly, alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com. Thanks again for tuning in.